Oh, it's true.
Hey Jess.
Hiya.
Hey Igor.
Hello.
Hello audience.
Hi.
Audience Igor. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
We didn't think this through, did we?
Oh shit. It's got me coffee.
Oh, amazing.
Hold on. Merlin, do you want some more? Oh,
Actually, I'm going to leave it. I'm actually going to leave it.
Oh, I definitely
do you feel a bit more comfortable now, Jess?
I feel like Beyonce now. Like,
All you need is a wind machine.
Yeah.
oh, you haven't got one. I wanted a wind machine and everything.
Okay, put in the budget for next time. Wind machine.
Do there. So I've lost my notes. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
It's all good.
Right. How you doing, Igor?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
Yeah?
We missed a week.
We've missed a week.
Yeah, we did. But that's kind of like life, isn't it? I think we both got quite busy in August and just decided that was it. We were going to just...
Both away, travelling and...
Children's birthdays.
Exactly. Children starting school, nursery and all that. And yeah.
But we've got some good plans, haven't we? Autumn, winter's shaping up really nicely.
Yeah,
We've got 2 people in today, which we're really excited about, and we've got a really good schedule lined up. I've got confetti all over me now.
You're just going to roll with it.
I didn't think it through. It's actually made a lot of mess, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm excited about the autumn winter.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. The lineup is quite incredible, and yeah, it just feels like we've
got a really good mix. It's warm, isn't it?
Yes.
Did that again.
Very humid. Feels like we're in Thailand today, but yeah, good old England. It doesn't know what to decide to do with the weather, but yeah.
And here we are. We've got an audience. First time.
It feels.
How do you feel?
To be fair, no, it's not to be fair, but to be honest, usually recording I feel more nervous than even shooting a wedding or whatever, because I guess I know what I'm doing, and with recording we never know where it's going to go.
No.
So to add that, a full house.
We've put another layer on it. Could you tell that I was a bit stressy before we started?
Yes, I
just don't want to make any mistakes.
I was chatting to some of the audience guys, and I just get a tap on my shoulder. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm like, okay. Well, someone's feeling
This is the first time when actually I set everything up yesterday. I was like, do you know what? I know what it's going to be like. We're going to get here. People are going to be wanting our attention, and we're going to be chatting to people, and then we're just going to forget to do something really basic, like turn a camera on. But we've done it. We're okay. I think we're all right. We're good.
We got this.
And we've got someone amazing here with us today.
Woot.
An audience. No, Jess Somerville. Jess is here. We're really dead excited to have you here, Jess. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having
From
me.
Sheffield.
Yes, I am.
How nervous are you?
Well, I was okay with the whole let's just record the podcast. Can you come down? Is me and Igor? I'm coming to Brickwork. I was okay with that, and then I saw on Miller's stories that it was being recorded live in front of a live audience.
Decided that we weren't going to tell you that.
Sam was like, "Should we tell her? Should we tell her?" I'm like, "Nah, she'll find out eventually."
Yeah, Sam missed that bit out, but it's good.
What was the message that me and you had there between, like, when you said to me, Sam, is this a live audience? And I was like, yeah. What was your response to that?
Well, at first I was like, okay, and you get all of the feelings and all of the fear comes in and everything, but like we always say, nothing good ever comes from staying in your comfort zone. So just to
that's it.
Throw me right in at the deep end with a live audience.
Yes, faces, but just look at their faces. They're so nice.
They are lovely. They are really nice, and they gave me lots of encouragement.
Just to give a little bit of background, you're kind of the official Another Idea photographer.
Yeah,
I am.
We've kind of adopted you as that. That is it. If anyone's going to take
part
photos,
of the fan.
It's going to be Jess.
Yes, although I am still waiting for my T-shirt with that says that on it.
What official photographer?
Official photographer of Sam and Igor. That's what I'm waiting for.
We'll make that happen.
We can sort that out. And you got coffee this morning as well, didn't you? Can we just share the story of your coffee this morning? What did they say to you when you went for the coffee down the road?
So Sam said to me, "There's a place quite close that does great coffee. Really, really good coffee."
How High Grind, in case you're listening.
Yeah, and it was amazing coffee.
Yep.
So I
what
pulled
did you
up.
have?
I had a flat white.
Okay.
It's my staple.
Yeah,
get me through.
Oat.
I vary. Yeah, sometimes I have oat milk and sometimes I don't.
I'm loving flat white with an extra shot at the moment, just to.
Yeah, the extra kick.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
the time of the year though, isn't it? It's like the kids are like just fried us. like summer holidays, we're all like broken.
Oh, I love my coffee.
Need a double espresso.
Definitely with vodka in there as
well.
well.
There you go. This is what we like.
So yeah, I pulled up, got out, tottered in, and kind of said, "Hi, I'm here for my coffee." And Sam Dock has recommended that I come here. And she went, "Sorry, who? The footballer?" I was like, "No." I went, "No." She was like, "Oh yeah, the personal trainer." Or like,
definitely not personal trainer.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Leave that one. I can't wait to go and get my coffee offer tomorrow.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sam Docker, the footballer.
/PT.
I'm definitely going to play on that one. But no, we're really pleased to have you here, and it's just we've really enjoyed. Every time you've been in the studio and you've taken photos of us, me and Igor have both been like, "Oh yeah, Jess is great, isn't she?" We do say that, don't we?
Yeah, completely.
Checking.
You got a great aura about you, and
Thank
just
you.
the character really just make people feel welcome, like literally straight away. Which, as a photographer, it's like it's such an essential skill, really. But as well, just as a person, really, just so welcoming and warm. So yeah,
and your photos are shit art as well. So that
Thank
helps.
you. I think with any sort of like creative industry that you're in, when you're working with people, I think that you feel like a lot of your job is your art, and it is almost quite a lot of it is your art, but I think a lot of that as well, like 80% of it is your personality and how you can make people feel about what you're doing. Especially being a photographer, it's so important to make somebody feel comfortable and relatable as well, even with things like your social media and stuff, that people can relate to you. So yeah, thank you.
I think it's one of the biggest overlooked skills of our industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just that personality side of it, and just having that awareness of your how you act and hold yourself influences the people around you.
Yeah.
I think Finn mentioned it the other week on the previous podcast,
he did.
Didn't he, about
in terms of comparison of the two other photographers.
More so from an experience point of view, and being able to get being able to be rebooked. Like if you're not that nice person that's working hard and
that's it.
Shows compassion.
And word of mouth travels, doesn't it? So
totally. I'm just gonna go straight in.
Yeah. I thought you could do it straight away. To be fair.
Yeah, well, no, we've had a little bit of a chat, and I just wanted to go straight in with something that Jess put on her little bio that we asked our speakers to fill out before they came here, and it was just the fact that you'd said you started 3 years ago, and you followed it up by saying it was the best decision you've ever made, and it made me think of on the Q&A episode. And I know you listen to every episode, don't you? You're a super fan, so
I'm waiting for my t-shirt.
So in the Q&A episode, you'll know that there was somebody asked a question about being 29 and is it too late to start being a photographer? Now I'm not going to discuss your age, and I'm not going to put that on you, but you're just a bit north of 29, not much, but a little bit, yeah.
Quite north.
I mean, you did put it on your Instagram like your birthday, so I kind of know how. But anyway, the whole point of being 29 and not it's too late to start was just ridiculous, wasn't it? And you didn't start this journey until you were
older.
3 years. 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
I'm 40 next year, so I'll just but
Come
yeah.
on.
Same. Are we having a joint party?
Yeah, and it's in September as well, so I know you're August, aren't you?
Oh, wow. Yeah, amazing.
Wow.
So we'll
2 months of just partying.
If only there was a space that we could use.
Wow,
I know,
right?
Party with.
Get these back in the Canon as well, and we'll just reuse those back in. Yes, I don't think it's ever too late. And actually, I think when I look back through my career and what I've done from leaving school, so if I kind of go back, I'm not going to go all the way back to school and start from the beginning, but whilst I was at school, I went to a pretty average school. It wasn't a terrible school. It wasn't an amazing school. It was just a school that was like in between, if you like. And I was always really jealous of those people. Those people that kind of are at school and they're going, I really know what I want to do. I want to be a vet, or I want to be whatever it was that they wanted to be. And I was used to think, I'm so jealous of that, because I have no idea what I actually want to do, what I want to be. And I plodded through school and I was okay in school. I managed all right, but it didn't really give me any joy or anything like that.
Any favourite subjects?
Art. I loved art. And that was only because of the teacher. She was completely bonkers.
Yeah.
So I really could like vibe off of her.
Yeah. My aunt was exactly the same. Mr. Quinney.
It's in the bio, isn't it, for an art teacher? And I remember from school, one of the things that sticks in my mind even to today was the teachers announcing that there was going to be a careers advisor coming into school to talk to us all about our careers. And I was like, amazing, this is brilliant, because I don't know what I want to do. So this person is going to come in here and tell me essentially what I'm supposed to be doing. This is awesome.
Did they tell you?
So they came in, I mean, I'm talking like in the 90s.
Yeah.
Where they come in with like the software, the
She's
massive...
definitely not nervous now, is she?
Yeah. Oh no, just look at that.
I told you not to bring me water.
No drinks here because this is her personal space.
So don't bring me water. I'm expressionate when I talk. And so they came in with their, software, and it was like a questionnaire that you had to do, and it had multiple choice answers in there. So I sat down and I was like, amazing, I can do this. I'm like filling it all out and everything. And people were walking out of that interview with like, oh great, it says I'm going to be a vet, or it says I'm going to be a doctor, and this is amazing because that's exactly what I want to do. And I couldn't wait to get in that room. I couldn't wait to get in that space and find out what it was that I needed to be. And I went in there, did my multiple choice, and I'm just going to let you guess what it came out with. For me.
Okay.
Based on my multiple choice answers.
TV presenter?
No. It was a telephone pole erector.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have been here for a long time trying to guess that. Do you think anybody at any point has realised that
the telephone
system
poles and you install the
hard
lines?
hat,
Hard hat.
And I just remember leaving that thinking, oh no, like what? So if they don't even know, how am I supposed to know what I want to do?
It's amazing though, isn't it, at that age that you were kind of like looking for somebody to say, Jess, this is what you can go and do.
Yeah.
We all think about back to our own school. Like I was, I've said it before about like not knowing that design agencies exist until I was in my early 20s, and God, I wish somebody had just said to me, you can go and do something like that.
Yeah.
But
because being creative and earning...
So did you go and do telegraph pole
No.
erection? What is going on here?
That is what it came out with.
Erector.
The lady was like, can you do it again? I was like, no, you've ruined it. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not doing that again.
Do you think amongst all of the careers advisors, they still laugh and joke about that came up?
Yeah, I can remember that girl.
Remember that girl in Sheffield who did that?
So no, I didn't take that advice. And I just did the next natural thing was I just went to university, and I just went to, I just chose to go and do a law degree. So I went and did that because at that time, to make a career out of being creative, especially as a woman, just was not a thing.
That was my other question. I'm going to cross that one out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Put it down in big quotation marks.
That means it's a good guess.
Yeah, no, it's great.
When you know that they're kind of like ticking everything.
It wasn't a thing. Back then it just wasn't a thing that you could do.
You must have been a creative person.
Very
creative. Like you felt creative, right?
Yeah, really creative. I used to love drawing and art and photography. And
what sort of like made you... In some ways, you kind of have answered it, but I want to dig even deeper. What sort of like made you sort of like feel like you couldn't actually go into the art sphere and do what you wanted? Why did you have to do law, if that makes sense?
Because I think it was quite a strong perception from people that if you want to make money, if you want to be successful, you have to go down some sort of professional route. Yeah. So it was kind of the message that we heard over and over again. The only way that you will achieve high is by going to university and by getting a degree and by having these letters after your name. That's the way that you do it. And that was kind of ingrained into us for a long time, and so that resonates with you.
You need a professional career.
Yes.
Behind a desk.
Yeah, and something that's going to give you longevity.
Yeah.
And
nice and steady, guaranteed.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, I see where that was only ever coming from a place of love. When people would advise that you go and do that, my family and friends and things. Yeah. I understand that completely, but it did, in the end, leave me just a little bit lost. So I tried doing all sorts of different things. I did. So I left law. I knew that I'd be terrible at it. Like I knew I would. And I was terrible.
What kind of law? What did you practice?
Criminology and all the crime law and stuff. So
Yeah.
I cannot lie to save my life.
I can just imagine you just laughing. I can just see you in like a meeting talking about something, just like finding it funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I would just be like, you've done
Jess,
what?
this isn't a laughing matter.
No. And I'm too nosy, so I'd be really nosy about everything, you know.
And also you can't tell people. You go home telling
Yeah.
Rob, you won't believe what's happened today.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy from down the road.
Exactly. Terrible at it, like really bad at it. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I did a few different jobs. I actually ended up being a property valuer for quite some time, and I was really, really good at that. But again, it just didn't give me that satisfaction. I knew there was I couldn't quite work out what it was.
You hadn't found your calling yet.
I hadn't found it, and I didn't know what it was at that point. I just knew that it wasn't what I was doing. But you just go through life, don't you? You just carry on going through life, and you go through, and you try different things, and you try different jobs and stuff. And then I had my babies, so my children are 6 and 7 now.
Amazing.
So I had them, and they just changed everything.
Just to go off on a little tangent on that one, I loved you put something out on Instagram about having 2 boys and then saying there was a woman that gave you some advice a while ago.
Oh yeah.
What was that about? Just make sure that you have was it snacks?
So she was super, super posh. She was next level, like posh. And we was at a campsite, and she had a massive like Winnebago thing with all like they had speedboats coming off of the tent and all sorts of stuff at this campsite.
She was glamping.
She was that. I mean, she had 5 boys, and I just said to her like, how are you not utterly exhausted? Like I have 2, and they are wonderful but exhausting. And she just said, oh darling, it's very, very simple. You just have to throw them snacks and exercise them just like a Labrador. that has stuck with me. I do that every day. That lady, she comes into my head when my kids are being,
wild,
challenging. I throw them snacks and exercise them.
Exercise that snacks.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Wow. And I had the boys, and I was lucky enough to be able to stay at home with my children, and they were babies. But then I've always done photography. I've always loved photographing people, but I was a mum with a camera. So I'm a mum with a camera, and I go out there and I take pictures of my boys. And
with that sort of deep-grained idea as well that you talked about earlier about being creative and making money isn't a to-do thing as a woman. So
completely.
Like, you're fighting that from the off.
I am. But then the other person
So what changed?
My husband. That was what changed. So he is a hairdresser. He's a really successful hairdresser. And not just that, he showed me, so he's made a really good living from being creative.
Yeah.
He knew that he wanted to be creative. He knew what he wanted to do. He was one of those people that left school knowing this is what I want to do. And he faced challenges as a man wanting to be a hairdresser. I can imagine
you can't leave, you probably don't leave school going, I want to be a hairdresser, and coming out with the results that maybe people expect of somebody that wants to go on and study a degree at university.
Yeah, and he faced the same sort of challenges really, from like not knowing whether or not he was going to make a career out of it, but he did. And he just kept saying to me, you just need to go and do this. So you just need to put one foot in front of the other, and you need to go and do it. But I created so many different excuses in my own mind as to why I couldn't go and do it.
Like what?
So my limitations. So I always say that your limitations should be your motivation in life. That's how I kind of view it now.
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, my limitations were my children. So the excuses that I made were, well, I can't go and just be a photographer because I have children, and I have to get up in the morning and I have to see to them, and I have to make sure that they're all sorted and everything. And so that became my excuse to sit in my safe space. That became the excuse that I was just going to stay where I was and carry on plodding along. And it wasn't until I really kind of started reframing my mindset to the fact that, yes, they're my limitation, but that should be my motivation to change. So that should be where I look at to kind of progress myself. And I think that's true no matter what your limitations are in life. So it might be that you already have a full-time job, but you want to step into a creative industry, or you want to start up your own business, for example. But that limitation, instead of seeing it as a barrier, that should be your motivation to change.
Sort of as a mindset, really, because maybe I should try to become a photographer so I can provide and show my kids that this is amazing, you can really do a living with it. Or maybe I should, become a photographer because there's so much to be given out there, really. So that's great.
That was one thing you said to me actually in the following on from me and you having that chat about there being an audience here, is you said once you flip your mindset, the world is really yours.
It is completely. There is nothing.
So many people are just controlled by those limitations and those fears, aren't they?
It goes through your mind daily. Like, your limitations will always, just even small things, I just step into a room to go and do some training to better yourself. You can put in those limitations of, what if nobody likes me? What if you go through a million different fear-based scenarios in your own mind. And I was doing that at home with my children. It was the fear, what if people don't like my photographs? What if I put things out there and people are going to laugh? And all of those fear things come into your head. But my motivation behind it was my boys and my husband, and he just kept saying to me, but you can do it. I don't know what you're making a big song and dance about. And I was like,
we all need a role.
Yeah. He's great for that. He's really, really good, and he's really good at saying, no, you need to just stop whinging, stop whining, and just go and do it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, no, I'm too old to do this. I can't flip my mindset right now.
Another excuse or limitation.
Another limitation.
Yeah.
And I don't have time. How am I going to change it so that I have a limitation? It's a limitation to I don't have time. And and a lot of the time I would say, no, I have these children to see to. I don't have time in my day to start adding something else in. But what I think my best advice, if anybody feels like that, is, for me, what I started to do was, for example, just take my boys with me and just make really small changes. So even if it was for 5 or 10 minutes during the day, what I would do is maybe take them to a play area or stick Peppa Pig on or whatever it was at the time to give me just
snacks and running them around.
Snacks, throw them snacks, throw them a few snacks, give myself 5 minutes, and in that 5 minutes I might send one email or just edit one photo to put on Instagram. Just that one little small thing that was going to make a change.
It's 1 foot in front of the other, isn't it?
1 foot,
That's it.
It's aligning my behaviour to become the person who I actually wanted to be, instead of just kind of listening to what I thought I should do and what I should be. And then I started to see small changes come once I just started to put 5 minutes a day. The rest of the day was dedicated to snacks and exercise of the Labradors. But just 5 minutes. Yeah. And I think we think about things sometimes when we want to change, don't we, as being a really big thing. Yeah. So you think, all right, I want to be a photographer or whatever, and it's a massive thing.
And then you start looking at the photographers, and you're like, oh, there's no way I'll ever do that. And you start
feels
comparing
unreachable.
yourself, and it's just small steps over a consistent time period.
Yeah.
And the change comes.
Yeah.
It does. And even something that you may think is only really, really small, it might be one email or, I don't know, reaching out to one person to ask them if you can, like, second shoot for them or something will change. And for me, the biggest thing that changed was the Hold Still project. Which was
we're going to get onto.
My biggest change, but I just kept going with that, and I just kept going, and then eventually I turned around and I'm here in front of a live audience. So that was that.
Yes. So your business has grown ever since then. So where are you in terms of your business now, and where do you want to go?
Ooh, big question. So I feel really good now about where I'm at. I feel comfortable in knowing my voice as a creative. I'm confident in the fact that, like I will always say that if anything's challenging, now I've flipped my mindset into a place that I kind of welcome that. I like that. So I'm overcoming challenges that I never thought I would overcome just by...
Could you imagine coming on this podcast a couple of years ago?
6
months ago?
No chance. I wouldn't even probably have come in the room, Sam. That's the difference on kind of my mindset now. So that's good. And but where I'd like to go now is I'm moving a little bit more into branding work, and that quite interests me quite a lot. It's something that I don't want to just do willy-nilly. I don't know another word. For what I'm trying to say.
Willy-nilly is a word that doesn't get used quite simply enough in my eyes. It's a word, it's very much like tittle-tattle. That doesn't get used enough either.
Brilliant word.
Yeah, they're great.
So I'm so I don't kind of want to. I want to do that with my whole heart, if you like. So I've got really interested in branding and things as a photographer, because.
And what would you say you sort of like specialise now, just for the audience, really, just so they get a good sort of like feel of Jess really as a photographer?
Weddings are where my main business is at the moment, but the branding element of it as well now is coming up really strong for me. So working with like smaller brands, even
podcasts and
stuff like that. The reason being is that I enjoy the creative outlet within branding. So I enjoy being able to be creative for brands and things. So I don't just do it where I may just say, right, I'll turn up to the studio and I'll just shoot as it is. I kind of put my own little creative input into there, give my own like advice as well. So like business advice can go into there, and just like how we should promote it on social media and that kind of thing. So I give like a little bit of background to companies.
It really comes across when you're here working. We've only had experience if you've been here 2 or 3 times, twice now. But it really comes across, and like you seem incredibly comfortable. It's hard. I find it hard to picture a Jess that is a bit scared about doing it, because you've been here and we've just been like, she's great, and like your work and the aesthetic of your work is incredibly strong and definitely lends itself to like the branding world. Like I think there's like you're great at weddings. But I do think the brand side of your business, I think, it's
your strength, really.
Just keep plugging away at that. Is at one point just scale, and then before you know it, you're shooting an ad campaign for Zara.
That's the dream.
Come on.
That is the dream. That's on my manifestation board to shoot something bigger than that. Yeah.
I was going to say that even like seeing things from the other side as a client, just the way you sort of like act and direct us. And go and do this and go and do that. But
we need that, don't we?
Yes, we needed that.
We like to do, don't we?
like 2 Labradors. Throw them snacks and exercise them around the studio.
But it just flowed. It was very natural, even though it can be awkward. Someone telling you what to do and how to pose or how to look and how.
It's also awkward telling people to do that as well.
Yes, exactly.
And I think the point that we're both making is that Jess is very comfortable. You might not realise it actually, but. You come across somebody who's very comfortable in saying that. I think from a photography point of view, like a lot of photographers struggle with putting their sort of idea and their print down on a subject and saying, actually, let's do this.
I think that the thing that's important to recognise now, I think, with branding and branding yourself when you're going on to like Instagram or to a client, is that it's changing, and it's in the way that we look now a lot at personality. So although you may sell a product or you may have something that you like a florist or whatever it may be, when we buy as a consumer, we are looking at personality. Look at things like now, massive brand campaigns have like Francis, the train guy.
Yeah.
Like he's on like
he's amazing. Dior,
Chanel. He's done
literally brands that you wouldn't think of.
Exactly.
Like completely outside of train spotting and whatever else, which is the thing he does.
So why though?
Pardon?
Why?
Because he's likable and he makes us smile and he gives us a feeling, and that's what's super important.
It's quite endearing.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. It's very endearing. You're kind of like, I just want to come and give him a cuddle.
Exactly. And it creates that feeling. You watch him and you get that, it evokes a feeling within you. And so brands, massive brands, want to tap into that, and we should kind of be the same when we're looking at our own branding and our own personality. Like people, you might be sort of scared to put, if you're a photographer or whatever it may be in the creative industry, you kind of see yourself as like a product and you have to show that product, and that's great because people essentially need to know what you do. But also they want to know who you are, and they want to find you endearing, like Francis the train guy.
We're not like, just because we're not Gucci's and Prada's, But the fact that they are doing it should show all of us that they're doing it for a very good and calculated
specific reason. Yeah.
Yes.
And that we should embrace it. It's like I talk about, Apple's marketing powers on my course. I'm like, I'm not saying we're all Apple, but what you can do is take components of what they do and say, oh, hold on, how do I apply this to my business?
Exactly.
Like, why are they doing it?
Yeah.
So no, that's amazing.
I think it comes to that point of relatability, really.
Yeah.
People really relate to specific characteristics of other people that can be sort of like ambassadors for your brand, really. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be loud or what you made me think when you start talking about brands becoming people, really, and pulling that character across, controversial, but I just thought straight away as he's walking out today, Boris Johnson, he's loud and obnoxious as he is, sort of thing, but say what you want to say about the guy, he puts his character across, really, and you will know, you will in some ways feel in some kind of way where that is
it's not
relatable.
The same feeling as Francis, I can tell you that. Definitely not the same feeling.
Definitely not. It's definitely not the same feeling, but you'll have people that on the right and the left, whatever, that will feel some sort of like affinity for him because of his character, and the main point that was sort of like trying to put across is that we don't need to be Boris Johnson. You can be quiet, you can be shy, you can be Francis, but as long as you put those sort of like characteristics that are you, you're onto winning. You're onto winning, really, because those are the sort of things that people relate and gravitate towards. And
I find it really hard now when I look at an Instagram account of somebody that's a creative. I find it really hard when I can't see their face. I find it really hard to connect with them and go, if I can't see the face or name, I can guarantee you I don't even follow their account. Because I'm like, I don't have that.
It's your face on there.
You just don't like. Whereas, but the flip side of the coin is when you see someone's face, you see them like smiling or looking, and you know their name. I'm like, okay, cool, I like their work. Piece it all together. Go on then, Igor.
Fun enough, though. It's not to say that everybody needs to be like that. Like, I think Finn is like the perfect example of sort of like mysterious.
There's always exceptions to the rule, though, aren't there?
But that's his character. So if it's mystery, that's his character. He's still got that brand, he's still got that characteristic, he's still got maybe that relatability, because so it's what you're kind of like known for, and tapping into that. And I think like now the way that like TikTok is coming through, that is something that is looking at personality, because it's an entertainment. So we kind of think like Instagram now is all very aesthetic, and it always has been.
Exactly.
But now that sort of TikTok generation is coming through personality wise, and that's what's pushing brands.
It's not just education or the value that you provide through the services that you give, but also people are looking for entertainment. That's nail on the head. Just
to dial it back a little, go back to your journey over the last few years then. What was the point at which you started to go, actually, no, I can do this, and there is something good here, and that when did I suppose the question I'm going to ask is, when did the scale start to tip, and when did you start to go, actually, no, I can do this, I've got something here?
I think the biggest thing for me was the Hold Still project. When I
fly on your head. Didn't get it. It's there though. It's there.
Oh man.
See, look.
The episode where Sam slapped Igor.
I saw it and I was like,
I love you, but
it's almost there. It's on Jess. Oh, hold on.
Oh
Seriously,
my God.
Sorry. Should we start that section again?
It wants
Jess,
to be involved.
at what point did the scales start to tip?
Would you
the scales are gone.
Do you want to sit here?
The scales are gone.
Would you like to come and sit next to me? I promise I
There
won't
aren't many
slap
people
you.
that I could do that and get away with, but Igor's definitely one of those people.
Sam is just providing great,
It came from a place
great
of love,
content
Igor.
and entertainment. So
It came from a
yeah.
place of love.
Yeah.
dear.
Worried about it. Didn't want it like, nesting in your little whatever.
My beautiful head.
Anyway, carry on, Jess.
Igor, move here, love. It's all right. So I during lockdown I did what everybody was kind of doing as a photographer. I was just going around and taking photos of whatever I could take photographs of. And I did see that as a time. It was great in the sense that I wasn't doing like client work and stuff, so you could be super creative, and that was the only thing. A lot of personal work. And my little nan, bless her, she was in the early stages of dementia when we first went into lockdown, and she was at home, and she is my ultimate person in the world. So I would go around and I would visit her, and I couldn't go into the house as like everybody couldn't. And she's such a personality, like she's a wicked personality. And she would say things like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
Oh, good. She would say like, what are you being an idiot for? Come on in, I haven't got anything. And then but she would use a word stronger than idiot. Come on into the house, and I couldn't. So I could
So you were asking to swear?
Yeah, but then I bottled it. I didn't want to.
Okay. It's going to grow sound.
Okay, all right.
Building up to it. Building up to it.
Just said idiot. Jesus Christ, foul mouth.
What's the other word I said earlier?
Come on, just get it out. Go on, it's fine.
So,
did you say fucking idiot?
She said, stop being a fucking idiot and come in the house. I haven't got anything. All that kind of stuff. And she was just through the window, and just it's like something in me, like we all do as photographers, I was like, I need to take a frame of this. This is a frame. I saw the frame in my eyes before I even saw it in the camera. Took the photo, and it went on Instagram, and it was that 5 minutes in that day that I took out to just literally put the photograph on Instagram. That's all I did. And then I can't
5 minutes though.
It was the 5 minutes. It was making that intention during the day. And I got a notification on my phone which said Nicholas Cullen has commented on your portrait. And he's the director of the National Portrait Gallery in London. And he commented on the photo. And that was life made. That was it for me. You know,
it's not going to get much better.
It doesn't get much better than this. I was like, I can retire. That's it. He's commented. He'd put like great portrait. Like love this. This is awesome. Something along those lines. But sort of alongside of that, I'd noticed that at the time there was the Hold Still project that was happening, and because he'd commented, I kind of thought, oh, maybe I should enter this. All of the fear came into my mind. No, don't. You can't do it. Why are they going to want the portrait of your nan? Limitation. All my limitations came straight through, and I was like, no, this is going to be my motivation. And I sent off the portrait of my little nan. And that was it. Forgot about it. So just put it to one side, and I went along life. And then I did the thing that's like everybody does, you know, I'm going to turn my phone off, and I'm going to go on holiday, and I'm not going to check my emails, and I'm going to keep it all off, and I'm just going to go and have a great time being at one with the world and everything. And I remember being sat in a pub garden, and I had my phone on me in my bag, and the kids were playing, and Rob was at the bar, and I opened my phone, and I know this sounds really but it was like something was tapping me on the shoulder. You need to check your emails. It was like an energy. You need to check your emails. Do it, check your emails. And I checked my emails, and I had an email from the Portrait Gallery, from National Portrait Gallery, saying your image has been chosen for the final 100 to go in the Hold Still project. And like, I can't even explain to you the feeling that I got. It's making me tingle now, like just thinking about it. I'm like, God, that must be my entire amazing. World changed.
Yeah, I bet.
Talk to us about the project in itself, really. What is it?
We've got the book here because you actually gifted me the book.
Yeah.
We'll pass it around so everyone can see the photo in a minute. But
the project was from the Duchess, and she, as you know, like she has Catherine has a passion for photography, so she wanted to sort of put together a little memoir almost of the UK during lockdown, but in a very artistic way. And she chose 100 portraits to be featured within the book.
We're on page 22. So obviously if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see it, and we'll pass it round to the audience now so they can have a look. It's just a beautiful picture through a window of your nan, who's just said, fucking idiot.
Get in the house.
Funnily enough, that isn't in the description of the photo, but yeah, keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away.
Yeah.
So we'll pass that around so everyone can have a quick look at it.
The thing about that as well was, I could quite easily have not sent that off, and I could quite easily have sat within my limitation and thought, no, this isn't going to go anywhere. But now the thing that changed.
That's all right. It's the GoPro.
Is the microwave done?
Yeah.
Millie, spaghetti bolognese in the is ready.
Yeah.
It could have changed, but it. So now that portrait will be in the National Portrait Gallery when it reopens again in March, and it's my little Nan. She kind of understood a little bit, but I think the thing I'm most proud of now is that something that I've created, the art that I created, the place that I was, as a 16-year-old going to be a telephone pole erector, it just changed me into the person that I think I am today, the person that knows that I can do things, the person that knows that I don't have a limitation.
Yeah.
I have motivations to do things that I want to do and that I can be really, really proud of. And for me, that's just like the ultimate. That's my little Nan forever.
That's incredible.
In the gallery. So yeah, and then from that I started to realise that's where it kind of comes from, that I know that if you just do one little thing, that one small thing, it wasn't a big it's a big thing, it's ended up a big thing, but for me it wasn't a big thing at the time. I was just
a 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Step by step.
Such
an amazing achievement, and you should be really, really proud of yourself for it. Well done.
Thank you.
So,
hey honey.
Hi. So I heard that you love Studio Ninja.
Who told you that? Where have you got that from?
Some lovely bird.
So, I mean, Studio Ninja sponsor this podcast at the moment, and I think we both said at the very beginning, before we'd even recorded like the very first episode, I remember us having a conversation around, if we are going to get sponsors on board, I don't want to just get sponsors on board that just anybody. I mean, obviously it'd be great if people gave us money, but that's not what we're doing. We want to bring sponsors to the podcast that we think our audience are going to benefit from.
Yeah, and especially when it's things that we use.
Yeah, well, I mean, I use.
Yeah, in this case.
We're sort of setting you up at the moment on with Studio Ninja. So I thought it'd be really good today to just talk about, for me, like the 3 key features of Studio Ninja that are absolutely pivotal for me, like running an efficient business.
Yeah.
Should we fire them out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is calendar syncing. And what I mean by this is when an inquiry comes in through the contact form on my website, which is created within Studio Ninja, as soon as a couple or a client fill out that contact form, it comes through to Studio Ninja, it populates into my calendar. So like I know magic. In my phone, I've got it already in my calendar that so-and-so's wedding is on this date, and I can see whether it's clashing with anybody or not. It's just there. I've got their names, I've got their email address, I've got their venue. It's in there. It doesn't go anywhere.
It's all populated.
So it's all populated straight off the bat. That is the very first thing that I think. So I don't have to manually input any data.
That's really good.
The second one is invoicing automation. So I used to be so bad at this. Like I used to have to like build invoices, send them, which isn't such a bad task. It's remembering to build the invoices and to send them. It's like, oh damn it, I forgot. And it's like, I should have sent that 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, or
that doesn't happen now.
Or it's the 15th. That's usually when I send mine.
Yeah, so Studio Ninja, it takes a little bit of time at the beginning just to set up, but once you've got it set up, it's all automated. So I send an invoice if they decide to book, and the system knows that from the shoot date, 6 weeks out, it's going to send them the remaining balance invoice. And it's all in a portal, all accessible to the client at all times. They can see the backs details in there. Nobody asks me for backs details anymore because when they click on the invoice and say pay by backs, it just brings up all of the data. Yeah. So everything's already in there and it's all fully automated. For international weddings, it'll send them a £700 invoice 6 months out from the wedding, and that comes off their total balance. Oh. So it's really configurable. Yeah. And once you've set it up, that's it. Job done. You never have to do it again. And then the final one, which I don't think many people that use Studio Ninja would say this is like a key feature, but for me I think it's incredible, is just the ability to build a questionnaire for your couples or your clients. So for me, I've filled out this questionnaire, or I've created this questionnaire that asks for their names, their Instagram handles, the times, the locations, the contact names and numbers that I might need, supplier accounts, and it just sends them that questionnaire with the final invoice. It comes through to my email account when they finish it, and it also goes through to the app on the phone.
It's really good.
So I'll
Just
print a copy
organised.
out. Yeah, I'm just organised. And again, once you've gone through that setup process, it's done. Easy peasy. And they're the three main ones for me. There's a few others that we could talk about at the time, but that's it.
So how can people get them?
So you just go to Studio Ninja, and the discount code Another Idea gets them 50% off their first year's subscription.
There we go.
So you get a month free anyway, and then the discount code Another Idea gets 50% off their first annual subscription.
Go get it. Studio Ninja.
Go check it out, guys. Right, can we talk about gratitude? So on the Q&A episode, I think your question was about, well, to us, it was, what's the number one thing on your gratitude list that isn't family? I'm just going to send it right back to you.
Ooh, good question. The reason why I like doing a gratitude list, and if you've not done one, I highly, highly recommend you do it, and do it as like almost like a daily habit. And by a gratitude list, I would mean I don't mean like massive big things, because you can think instantly of like your family, your friends, or your close ones, can't you? But it's just small things, again, recognizing small things and small steps. So like the way that you have ground your coffee in the morning, the way that it smells, the rain at night that we've been grateful for. Because I think once you highlight what you're grateful for, it's easier to not put yourself into a negative space. So you're already putting your mindset, again, changing your mindset from what is a negative thing into a positive thing. So for me, what's constantly on my gratitude list is my family and my friends and the usual stuff. But I'm also grateful for things like the opportunity to, since I've stepped into this creative industry, I have met people who just do nothing but pull others up and shout for people, like you two. You know, you guys are the champion of, like, you know, making sure that people are motivated. And it's things like that that are on my gratitude list. This morning when I was coming here, I've had messages on Instagram from like creatives that I've never met, but, you know, follow me on Instagram and have sent me a message, taken the time out of their day to send me a message to say like, good luck this morning, Jess.
That's really good. So good to hear.
I don't know any other creative, any other industry that I've ever worked in that does that. And I think it's because we're empathy people.
Yeah, and I think like creative, like we all get it. Well, we get it. Like we've all been on that journey of feeling like we don't really know what our place is, and you're kind of starting to find where your place is, but 10-15 years behind where our mates found it when they were going, I'm going to go and be a doctor, or I want to go and do this, I'm going to go to uni and I'm going to go and be a lawyer, you know, that kind of like, we're now finding it, and I think we all get it, and we're just more like empathetic towards it and understanding of it, and that's really nice. I love that people have messaged you today to say that. I think it's really good.
It was
Love that.
It was an amazing feeling this morning, and that stuff like that, just those small things, just gives you that motivation on a day to feel good, because everybody likes to feel good. And so a gratitude list, instead of kind of waking up feeling really overwhelmed and feeling of all the things that you've got to do, again, I reframed it in the way that I sit down with my coffee. I don't always write it down. You don't always have to kind of like write it down, or do it at the end of the day. You know, just little small things, like I had a really nice hot shower. I'm grateful for that. That kind of stuff. And I really honestly believe that just, again, starts to change your mindset and what you're doing.
It reframes your mind. It really does. I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and the guest was talking about, I can't remember exactly what his name is.
You listen to other podcasts?
How dare you?
That's sad.
Sorry. Hold on a second.
So I was listening to the guest, and he was very much talking on how our neurons are reframed by specific actions. If you start going to the gym, time by time, step by step, your neurons will actually reframe, and will actually, initially, you'll feel like, this is really hard, please stop. But your neurons reframe. It's amazing how your brain works, isn't it? Like,
well, and we all know this.
Yeah,
we all know it.
Exactly.
But a lot of us choose not to do it.
Exactly.
It's like, if you want to, that's dangerous territory. Like, it's like this debate of like, if you want to lose, if you want to lose weight, I know it's not. This doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
But eat less, move more.
Yes.
Like, it's not rocket science.
The gym has actually taught me so much. Yeah, consistency. And it's taught me, again, when I first starting off, I think the most interesting thing that the gym and working out and being into fitness has taught me is to leave
#influencer.
Sensible.
Every time she puts a picture out on Instagram, it's like
influencers in the
Well,
wild.
I'm nearly 40, I can't
I
be
message you back again, influencer. It's great to see though. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
But it has taught me, the thing that's taught me in principles is to leave my ego at home, because for example, when you're starting out and you're looking at doing something new, when you're in a room full of people who you believe know what they are doing, so like in photography or, you know, whatever it may be, and you're in the gym and there's somebody, I'm kind of like benching my little 10s or whatever it might be, and there's someone next to me doing the 16s, and I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to pick them up because I could do that too, because that's our ego. But then you get them to get off the floor and you can't get them off and that kind of thing. So I like the gym as well because it reminds me that actually, again, it's okay that I'm not there, but I'm on this journey to get there. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same
There's
thing.
the spot at the gym. I always start on the stepper, and the stepper where it is, you can it looks above, and you've got the ground floor, and I can literally see the whole gym from the stepper. So I made a conscious point of I'm not quite ready for the weights over there, but I'm gonna learn from everybody. So I just go to the stepper and just literally, what are you doing? Oh, that looks cool. Oh, okay, maybe try that. And your confidence builds, doesn't it?
It does.
I think the gym is probably one of the most intimidating places for any of us to go to.
Yeah,
really,
it is.
You know,
and it's hard. But again, if you think about it, everybody's thinking the same. Everybody in there is thinking the same, and it's the same with life.
Sometimes it feels like school.
Yeah,
Gym feels a bit like school. It gives me like, I'm not sure about this, you know, because I don't know, people sometimes try to show off, or I don't know, it just reminds me of school.
I always wonder, like, because you can all see, like, I'm not a lifter. I'm pretty slim. I wonder what these like big alpha male blokes think when they go to the gym. Are they buzzing, or do they have the same fears and insecurities we do? Because I'm
sure they do.
I think there's been a massive shift and change towards women in the gym, which I think is amazing and should have happened a long time ago. I think women probably feel like they're able to be in the gym and be allowed to be in the gym a lot more now than they probably were in maybe the 90s. And again, like, if you don't fit that stereotypical, you know, alpha male can bench 120 kg, that you shouldn't be there. And that it feels like that has changed a lot. You know, it has become more inclusive. But I still think of it when I go to the gym. I'm like, exactly what you said about benching. I'm like, I can just about get the bar up. But
it's interesting, isn't it, how we feel like we shouldn't be somewhere when actually why should we not be somewhere? It's the same with like being a creative and making a business out of it. Well, I feel like I shouldn't be there. Why do you feel like you shouldn't be? Wherever you want to be, why do we feel like...
We're going back to limitations again.
In some ways, but what I love about what you're saying, Jess, is the fact that in some ways this is why we started this podcast, really, because we want to have that space where people actually can see that, oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can try different things, or maybe I should put my shoes on and go to the gym and
flip the mindset,
or flex my creative muscle, whatever it may be, or your business muscle, whatever it may be, really. So this is why we created this space, really.
No one's got it all figured out, have they?
No.
I think that's been one of my biggest takeaways from the last, like, the year of being here in the studio, is that no one's got it figured out. No one really knows. No one's got like, oh, I'm sorted for the next 5 years, I know exactly what I'm doing. Like, things change on a day-to-day basis, and you've just got to adapt and move and flex with it.
And you have your bad days, you know, everybody has the bad days, which is why I think the gratitude list is so important, even when you're having a bad day, because it's still important to see that there's still something there that you can be like grateful for on that day, and will still motivate you, and you might look forward to then on the next day. So even if you're having a bad day, it's still important to do that.
And the kids are climbing over your kitchen and
demanding snacks.
But I'm curious, do you literally sit down and write it down on like a book, or do you just type on your phone sort of thing?
It depends whatever I've got available. I started with like a journal, and then I found that if it wasn't near me, I would think, oh, I can't do it today because I haven't got the journal near me if I was away or I'd forgotten it. So sometimes it's just in my mind. I might just say them over again in my own mind.
So in response to my question back to you, of your question, Is there a number one thing on your gratitude list, or are we just saying that it changes?
I think relationships. I think the fact at the moment, the number one thing for me right now is the support that as a new photographer, as somebody moving into creative industry, the support is just next level.
Yeah.
You can just...
We've always said it, haven't we, with our industry? It's like, it's always not surprised me or amazed me, but it has... I think it is a surprise when you move into the industry at first.
Yeah.
You do go, oh, actually people want to chat and they want to
share.
Shout about you, if you know. If you,
it's a great bubble. It is a bubble, but it's got a lot of positivity really within it, really, and people can really excel from it if they really explore out other
Everyone
connections.
all right with that, by the way? You all okay, guys? Yeah. Murder, no one's fallen asleep, have they?
Keep doing a prod.
Okay. Good.
I hope not.
Good. Igor, you normally do what I am now going to start referring to as the Denver deep dive.
My goodness.
So I'm just going to let you go with what did you get when you went on your investigative deep dive of Jess Somerville? When you went into the office, he said yesterday, he went, I'm going to go on Facebook, I'm going to add her as a friend, I'm going to go right back to the start.
Oh no.
What did you see, Igor?
That's probably not a good place.
I want to know, when was the last time you went to Ibiza?
Oh.
Because you and Rob, you seem to love the place.
We do.
And I reckon you'd be able to recommend quite good spots in Ibiza. And I've never been. And I know Mallorca, yes, and that's pretty much it in terms of the islands. But
always going on about Marrakesh.
I know it's true. But tell us more. What would you recommend? And because I can tell straight away you love it,
and why
absolutely
Ibiza?
love it. Yeah,
it's the most magical place. I think it's full of creatives. It's a place where you land, and the energy. Has anybody been? Have you been? Yeah.
Going in a month. Can't wait.
God, the energy is just, like you go somewhere and everybody is just so happy and everybody just wants to kind of get along, and I love that. I'm such a people person. I love people. I love meeting people and learning different things. And when you go there, you find people. Again, we met some people on whilst we were there the last time who were creative and have made careers out of being creative, and you get to chat to different people. We stay at Santa Eulalia, which is an amazing little slice of the island, because you automatically think of Ibiza as being proper crazy, and it is.
Pasha.
Yeah, it's got that element, which is wonderful about it. But it's got so many beautiful elements as well. And we took the kids, so we were a little bit anxious about the kids and thinking what are we doing? And we got so many I got loads of messages saying, you've taken your children to Ibiza as well, and it's yeah, we actually there's a restaurant, I can't remember, Bambuda, the Bambuda restaurant as well, amazing. Which is essentially used to be quite an erotic restaurant, as well as some statues, shall we say, within the building.
But questionable.
Yeah, which you can look at. But I mean, my boys found
the kids'
it
play
hilarious.
area is a little bit fruity there, isn't it?
Just Mummy, there's a giant willy. I'm like, yay, there is a giant over there in this big... But, it's a magical place at the same time, so we love it, and we love that. I love the creativity of it, I think, as well, because that's what it kind of thrives on. It thrives on people being creative, people dancing, food. The food
culture in Ibiza is as good as anywhere I've ever eaten, and we're big foodies, and it's. I remember me and Gemma had a few nights with the kids came out with us, similar to you. We took the kids, and then they went home with Nan and Grandad, and we had 3 or 4 nights just ourselves, and it was. Bloody expensive.
Oh yes.
But we had a great every night. It was wow, that is just one experience.
It is. It's a beautiful
island.
place. And again, it's somewhere where your gratitude list just excels. I'm there and I'm 3 pages deep in my little gratitude list of the sunset there is incredible. Everything that makes you feel good is there. So
it's amazing. Definitely going. Gonna book a holiday.
Group trip, shall we?
Group trip, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with Rob and Jess.
No kids.
I'm going to just take us back to just talking, just finally a bit about your current business, and I just want to kind of ask you one thing I didn't ask you when we were talking about it was how do you see the challenges that you currently face within your business at the moment? Now that you've it sounds and feels like you've done that hard bit, which is the starting and getting it up and running. You've got some motion, some traction to it. But what do you see as the next challenges now over the next sort of 2-3 years?
I think it's maintaining discipline in my time is the biggest challenge, because once you start kind of rolling and you're on a roll, you need to keep up with that momentum somehow. So you need to keep that going. But you also need to try. So I've already kind of gone from having like my 2 boys and you know, having that spare 5-10 minutes, and now I need to increase that. So again, time needs to increase. So I have to go from finding 5-10 minutes to finding 2 or 3 hours within a day, because I need to try and take it to the next level. So I think being quite disciplined in my time is really important to me now, because without that I can't kind of move on. So it's like saying, and as well now I think it's saying no to things that I actually know I don't want to do, and that sounds really but it's
no, we'll suck your time.
It's niching down to you know, you can't. It's learning. For me, the biggest challenge has been learning that I can't be everything to everybody, and I need to kind of go in the direction that I would like to go in. And sometimes that's really challenging, because financially you want to accept everything to your business.
And saying no to work is when you're a self-employed creative, it's one of the biggest challenges I think that anybody faces, is going, no, I can't take on that job that's going to pay me pretty well, but I can't because it comes at a cost. Yeah,
because I've got to discipline the time to be able to move to the next step. So I've got to I think that's my biggest challenge now, knowing that where I want to go is going to be really specific for me, and just creating that little bit of time to do so.
It's amazing.
But yeah, I'll have to make sure that I keep myself motivated in the way that I don't just take on too much.
Yeah. How do you handle it with Rob? Obviously Rob works in an industry that is, you know, isn't a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. How have you found that kind of balance in terms of, you know, doing weddings and handling a family with 2 boys? And
it's tough sometimes, so I can't kind of sit here and say to you it's just like an easy walk in the park, because we have children, we have responsibilities. He has his business and I have mine. I think the biggest thing for us is the understanding and the compassion. So he understands that sometimes we kind of try and work together a little bit, so he understands that I have to have my time to do my thing, and I understand that he has to have, and it's about just being compassionate with each other as well, and allowing that space to kind of, if you feel overwhelmed, like he gets overwhelmed, I get overwhelmed, but it's having that safe space as well at home to go out, I'm overwhelmed and I need, and we kind of like bounce off each other a little bit when it comes to that.
That perfect work-life balance just doesn't exist.
It really doesn't exist.
It's not there.
And me and Zai call it's just a constant push and pull, really.
It
is.
Push
and pull between the 2 of us, and we work together. That's it. That's the only way you can really do it, because you got to understand each other, really, and team up. So I love hearing that you and Rob do that. That's amazing.
Thank you. We do. We try to, anyway. And because the coffee machine broke yesterday, I'm in massive turmoil about this.
We need to be getting a new coffee machine on order, don't we, for Jess? I mean, if Sage are listening basically, and they want to reach out as a sponsor, we would absolutely listen to
Heartbeats.
I think I've mentioned that 4 times today about my poor coffee machine.
Right, so as we said at the start, we've got an audience today, Jess, and we have decided that we're going to let the audience bring a question or 2 to the table. So
no problem.
I was going to say, are you all right with that? But you haven't got a say in the matter.
I've never had a say in any of this.
We're live streaming it all at the moment to YouTube, aren't we, as well? We didn't tell you now, I'm joking. That's fine. Don't worry. So has anybody here got a question? We've got a microphone set up behind there. Merla's got the microphone, so she can pass to you. Somebody want to ask a question? Who wants to go first? Just introduce yourself, say hello, and just fire away. You have to hold it quite close to yourself. That's it.
This is really
literally like this. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
So I'm pretty fresh into photography. I started in April. So I have lots of limitations that stop me from going forward. What is your current limitation? Because I don't know if you have one right now.
Current
limitation.
Yeah, it changes, and that's the thing I think, which is important to recognise, that you will never get to a point. We kind of see success or successful people as the fact that they've reached a point in which they go, I'm done. like, and it just doesn't happen. You always have a different limitation. And I think for me now, my limitation would be time, as it moves on and as I become more busy. I know like we've spoke about different things that I might want to do and stuff, and I'm like, I just don't have the time, which I know I said that you make the time. But it's continuously kind of like reframing yourself to think, right, next step, what are my limitations here? So for me as well, it's moving. I would like to move a bit more into like more luxury brands and get myself like, you know, quite deep into like luxury brands. So it's, for me, the limitation is knowing how to do that and what I want to do and my message. So that's kind of like my new limitation, which I think is always going to change, and I might get to that point and then I reframe it again, and there's different things that come up.
I think a lot of it comes down to just like having that awareness of even just thinking about your limitations.
Yes.
You know, I was talking about it off air a minute ago with somebody about how, and it kind of came up about how Anthony, who was sat here a few weeks ago, talking about the second mountain in the book that he bought us both, and it's like, you know, we're all guilty of kind of getting into our industry. I'm still picking confetti off my arms here. We get into our industry and then we just go, right, that's it, job done, see you later. I'm in my track and I'm staying here, and actually that's just like the comfortable place, isn't it, that we'll get to, and
it's only the tip of the iceberg.
People
really
find excuses to not then go and try something else, and they don't look at those limitations and what's stopping them going and exploring other opportunities. And
when you said that, Jess, the first thing I thought, it's so true. The people that I admire the most in this industry are the ones that have been in an industry for a very, very long time, but they constantly keep not just necessarily reinventing themselves, but very much pushing things forward, innovating and trying different things, not just staying still, but constantly pushing. And what's next? What can I do? There's always room to grow. I think that's the main message, really.
I think even Jeff Bezos was in the news the other week about how I'd seen just somebody on Instagram had shared a soundbite from him. So it might have been like 4 years ago, I don't know. But you know, this is one of the world's wealthiest guys, and he was asked about what motivates him, and it was just to keep evolving, like just to constantly be evolving, constantly be exploring new ideas.
Keep
and I was
moving.
like, I hear you, Jeff. I like that. He's a sound guy, like Jeff Bezos. He's done quite well, hasn't he?
Yeah, because if you kind of stand still, and you think to yourself, right, I'm there, then I don't know, you almost lose interest as well then if you're kind of just going to stay in one particular place. And I think pushing people out of comfort zone always creates some. It's like now with the whole like Instagram thing, with the debate about everyone's moving to TikTok and to video, and you know, everybody's kind of gone, oh my gosh, that's terribly scary, because it's where they're at, their comfort zone. It's what they know.
People don't like change.
No. They see it as a limitation. The video thing is a limitation towards them, but actually just reframe it.
Great question.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Who have we got next, Merla? Come on, Merla, you can say something as well. Say hello, Merla. Say hello.
Hello.
Just there.
Put a hand up.
Just there.
Come on, Merla, don't be greedy with the microphone.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sam. I've got a legal question.
Ooh.
No, just kidding. I was just wondering, in terms of working with clients, is it more challenging when it's another creative, like working with Sam and Igor?
Yes.
1,000. Or is that a limitation? Or?
Yes, because again, it's a fear factor. So you think they know what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So I think there's more pressure. So you want to, because almost you want to do better, not better than them, but I mean, like, you want to do, you need it to be perfect. You always need it to be perfect. But I think when you work with other creatives, so I've done recently a lot of branding for like other videographers and photographers, and you really want to come from a place that you're helping them as well. So it comes again from a love of your own art and what you create. I don't want that to be something that's not next level good, so the pressure turns up. You've always got that, but I think
you should always have it.
You should always
pressure,
have
isn't
it.
That you should never. It took me a long time, exactly what you've just said, like, it took me a long time to realise that that's actually a really healthy trait. A long time.
I
always used to think, God, why am I so scared and worried all the time? Does it mean I'm crap.
Oh no,
No,
it means that you care.
It just meant that I cared. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So again, it's reframing, isn't it?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, and I think as well when you're working with other creatives, there's a specific standard that's there. Whoever the person may be, they have a standard, they have an aesthetic, and you kind of like want to meet that, and in some way surpass that, and kind of like deliver something that's
Yeah, and just to be clear, like
I'm
we
proud
only
of
expect
this.
the absolute very, very best. You know,
Nothing more.
And I think it's
and
really
perfection, and the greatest images we've ever seen in the world.
the heat was really turned up.
Delivered within half an hour.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah, that was the other
better be
demand.
on point.
Are the images ready yet, Jess? Are the images ready yet, Jess? Are the images ready yet, Jess?
I think it's important as well to have the conversation. So don't be afraid to have a conversation and really kind of go, what is it that you want, and be open and honest. And if you don't feel like you can do something as well, that's also okay. Again, the power of like kind of saying no and knowing when it's not your thing.
Your strength.
It's not your strength.
Final little caveat though as well. I also think from a creative's point of view that was getting work from a creative, like I think we both understand the process and actually mean that, well, no, we're putting our trust in you because we trust. We do trust. We see. We wouldn't have invited you in if we didn't see that you had that in your work to be able to come and do something for us. So actually, there wasn't pressure from us.
No.
We were like, no, we believed in you.
Yeah, and we know exactly when we flourish as creatives. It is when we allow the space to
without
literally,
a shadow of a doubt.
you just do you.
Yeah.
Get ideas, and if you want something from us, just let us know. And we just bounce off from each other that way.
And the conversation is always super easy with these guys, and I think again as creatives, just being able to converse and say, what is it that you want, let's have a conversation, which is why as well I think it's important to not just say, I'm going to turn up and just do some photographs for you. Have a conversation about what do you want out of this from me. What is it you're looking for? What's the message you would like to say? Is super important. So then
the message is you get me and Sam holding hands whilst walking some woodlands.
With a coffee.
They're very lovable and very easy to photograph. So I mean, how could you not love photographing them?
Great times. I'm looking forward to the next shoot. Great question. Thank you, Sam. Should we have one more? Who's going? Or two more? We'll have two more.
Cheers. So I am Mike, and I was going to jump back to the point where you were saying about where you flipped industries into your creative from your, I'm going to say, corporate world. So that's where I feel I'm at the moment, where I'm kind of, I work for North West Ambulance Service and I've done for 17 years, so I'm invested in that, and I've got kind of commitments at home, which is, mortgage, wife, 2 kids. What was your approach? So were you kind of on maternity and never went back, or did you scale down, or did you just kind of go, I'm established now, cut ties, and that was it?
I think how you would need to think about that is think about it break it down into a really small. So when we kind of think about going from a full-time job with kids, and then we think about, right, I want to go into photography or a creative industry or a business, whatever that may be. That seems like a really massive step because we want to go from A to B. But actually, you just need to break it right down, like the smallest things, and start doing them with intent each day. Such as getting 5 minutes out of your day. So for 5 minutes, also kind of put that into your mind, even if it's something for 5 minutes you are imagining yourself, and this sounds really like, woo-woo about it. That's another word for you.
We love it. We'll add it to tittle tattle and
willy-nilly woo-woo. Imagine yourself there, and once you start doing that for like 5 to 10 minutes each day, you start to kind of align your behavior to becoming that person. So it's all about just those small things, sending off an email, putting something on Instagram which shows what it is you want to do or what you where you want to go, and align your behavior daily. That might seem like a really small thing towards that. It might be that you don't know what you want to do. So it might be that you don't necessarily want to stay within the service that you're doing, but you don't know what you want to do. that, again, that's okay, but maybe just make small differences to do things that make you happy. So 5 minutes out of the day of something that makes you happy, because then you start to gravitate a little bit more, and you'll find over time, it may be 3 years time, but you find over time you start to kind of fill your time with that rather than the other, and you become more confident. And I think it's confidence and eradicating the fear. You're always going to have the fear that doesn't go away. So you kind of need to know that you need to sit with that as well, and know that at every stage that fear is going to ride along that journey with you. But
I've still got that fear now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have it now. Yeah,
You do.
I'm still worried about everything in here.
It's always going to be there. That fear is always going to ride along that journey. It's just accepting that it's there, not listening to it, or saying, I've heard you, but this is what I'm going to go and do.
Yeah.
And do that.
It is a really bit, like the position you're in, like, you know, saying you've got children, a mortgage and a wife, and you're in that, it is hard. It's really
super
difficult.
hard.
You know, I think when you're in your 20, actually, like when you look back on it now, like we're the other side of 30, but you look back on people that are in their 20s, like that's the best time to be going, right, I'm gonna go and try whatever I want to go and try. It's a lot harder to do that when you've got, you know, bills coming in, and you've got kids to buy new shoes for, and it does become tough. But I think, like, when you break it down, like you just said, into that 5 minute window and going, oh, okay, right, let's just stop looking at the really big picture, which is, yeah, it's great to have a big picture and to have an understanding of where you want to go, but actually it's just doing those small steps and just going, okay, just going to start getting into the routine of doing this is why, like, something like the 365 challenge that you always hear about, I think is incredible, like as a process and a tool to go, okay, I'm just going to commit to something like that every day. Yeah. It's amazing when you put stuff out into the world, like, it's an energy, isn't it? It's a form of energy, and like people
see what you're doing.
To that, you know,
it just becomes easier, I think, because you're knowing what you essentially need is that confidence. You're always going to have a limitation, like we said before. The limitations will always change, so it's always going to be there. And I know that I went on maternity leave, and that's when and then we went into a pandemic, and so everybody was at home. So I kind of think that for me, I naturally kind of gravitated towards being able to do it. And it was kind of like a now or never kind of thing. So I know I was lucky in that respect, but I just feel really strongly about the fact that it doesn't have to be something that you wake up tomorrow and go, right, I'm leaving my job and I'm packed, because that's the kind of thing that we imagine it is. But it's not. It's just small steps, aligning your behaviour daily towards the place where you want to be.
Constantly show up.
Constantly
showing up, and the scales will tip.
Brilliant.
That's the hard bit. But yeah, cheers.
It is hard. It is hard.
Yeah. Who are we going with?
Hi, Christiane from Honeysuckle Flower Crate. You've kind of already answered it a little bit there.
Closer.
Oh,
just to your mouth. That's it.
All
So
right.
there you go. There you go.
You've kind of already answered it a little bit there in what you were just saying, but I just wondered, going back to when you spoke earlier about your husband's voice being the one that said to you, you can do this, go for it, just, you know, get on board, and it's absolutely within your grasp. Is it still that voice that speaks to you? Because I'm in this similar position that, you know, I started my business quite a long time ago, but it was my husband at the beginning as well. And I still have the fear that you're all talking about, the fear that holds me back from making big decisions or big changes or jumping into things, you know, with both feet. Do you find now that it's your own voice that's overcoming that fear, or are you still kind of looking for outside help to make those jumps?
Yeah, it's 1000% a mixture of both, but my voice has become stronger now. So, like, for example, when we went to Ibiza, I noticed that there was a workshop at we were all going as a family, and a great speaker, Roxy, that I love, was doing a workshop at the other side of the island, and we arrived on the Monday, and she was coming on the Tuesday, and she was doing free tickets, and all of the little fear voices, I really wanted to go. It was something I really, really wanted to do for me, because I love listening to her speak. But all of the fear things came into my mind. So the scenarios I was going through was, I was going to be kidnapped in a taxi on my own. There was going to be a massive storm that was going to come, and it was going to swallow me up, and I was going to get lost, and I was going to walk into the room, and everybody was going to think, what's she doing here? And nobody was going to like me, and nobody was going to talk to me. And you know.
Did any of that happen?
Not one of those things happened. However, I was having that internal fearful conversation in my mind.
Stopping you going.
It was stopping me from going. And all I had to do was physically put one foot. I was waiting for the taxi to come outside in the hotel, and I was leaving like my husband and my children behind to go into the wilderness to be kidnapped. That was my conversation in my head. But there's just, I think as you kind of practice this kind of like gratitude and this thankfulness and this confidence, and you keep aligning your behavior towards moving into these things, you just get that little buzz of, you're fine, it's okay. And that's kind of the voice that I listen to. And I'm in the taxi and I had a wonderful night, and I come back. So I've learned now to have that conversation with myself, but I still will always have the fearful conversation. Coming here this morning, I have the fearful conversation. I'm like, what if you knock water everywhere? And it's just normal, I think. I think it's something that we don't always kind of voice out so much, but it's normal. And we all have it. So, I think
one of the traits of great business people is the ability of constantly be speaking to yourself. Be talking to yourself, and not just selling in a negative way, but in a positive way. Constantly be talking to yourself about how you can actually go back and forth, basically.
That was a great question, thank you. Studio Ninja, Igor.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm off again. But I just wanted to talk about one more thing, because I think, and I'm not here to criticize one of our sponsors, but I think they're missing a trick.
Ooh, shots fired. Tell us what you think.
It claims to be designed by photographers for photographers, which it is. It is designed by photographers for photographers. So I'm not arguing that. But it's not just for photographers.
That's it. So much
I just
more.
think it's for anybody that's in a service-based industry. This piece of software is invaluable. I've had friends that are MUAs, hairstylists, florists, stylists. You name it. I've had them all reach out, and I've given them sort of guidance and setting them up that have gone on to use Studio Ninja and like, this is invaluable for our business.
Yeah.
So if Studio Ninja are listening and watching this back, might want to think about who you're targeting it to, because actually I think they're missing a trick. I think there's a whole market out there that, you don't just need to be a photographer or a videographer in the wedding industry. If you are a service-based industry and you've got clients or couples, whoever they may be, and you need to book people in, you need to send them automated emails, invoices, the system and the software is there for anybody to use in whichever business they're operating in.
Get Studio Ninja.
There you go. So what's the discount code, Igor? You should know it by now, because I've told you a few times.
Let me see.
I wonder what it could be.
I'm guessing. I'm joking. It's another idea. It's that simple. So if you go to Studio Ninja, type in that at the checkout, and you'll get 50% off for the whole year, and you'll get the first month free.
You get the first month free, and then another idea gets 50% off their first annual subscription.
There we go.
There you go. Sorted.
Go get it.
Okay, should we just go with one more question?
Boom.
Who's up?
Hiya, I'm Lauren. So I do wedding photography, and I'm also working another job alongside it at the moment. So I guess my question kind of follows on. Do you have any advice on finding like the right work-life balance? Because at the moment I feel like I'm constantly on the go. So it's, if you had any advice on making sure you take time out.
Ooh, taking time out is a good thing, and actually I would say that's the thing I'm not always the best at. Taking time out. I love my job and I love my home life at the same time. So I find the balance is hard. So it's not something that you can just kind of float through life and go like, ooh, it's a balance here. Because you can try to get to a point where there's a balance, and I think that can stress you out more trying to achieve a balance, if that makes sense. So for me, I sometimes, if I'm feeling a little bit crazy, I have to kind of sit with that. If life is bonkers, I have to know that that's okay, because I'm progressing. So kind of that madness almost is part of the progression, if that makes sense. So you can kind of think that you might want to possibly like eradicate it a little bit, and I get that, because nobody likes to feel too hectic and like you've got too much of a workload. I think the thing that I do take time out for holidays and things like that, but I say that I'm never really taking time out of my job because I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it that I might not be physically working, so I might not be, shooting or something, but I'm always thinking about the next thing, and I'm comfortable with that now, because at one point I was thinking I need to, you kind of almost imagine, don't you, that you need to be somewhere at Zen and not thinking of work, and we're human. We just don't if we're passionate about something and we love something, we don't tend to switch off from it, and I think that's all right. Sometimes everybody likes a break, so it's different from actually like going on holiday and spending time with your loved ones, if you like. But for me, I think just recognizing that you might not always have that balance, but that's actually all right.
I think it very much goes about being intentional as well, recognizing the season that you're at. Okay, this is a busy period, so I know it's a busy period, so I'm going to be intentional and work hard at it, really. But at the same time, whenever you would do exactly the same thing with having a holiday, for example. And I think, Sam, you're the best example for that with your Augusts at the moment.
August, like taking August off. I mean, that kind of fell. It wasn't an intentional thing. It kind of just fell a bit like that. But I suppose it was partly intentional. But it just made me realise I just need to have that break in the middle of the season. But that's quite a big thing. But then a small thing might be, do you know what? I've recently started just playing golf again, like once every few weeks with a mate. And actually, it's just about having that headspace and just having that little bit of time, like 3 or 4 hours once every few weeks, where we just go and don't have to think about anything else other than cursing a golf ball. Or it might just be that I go for a bike ride, and that doesn't happen very often. But just giving yourself those little pockets of time to go, I'm going to go away and just do something that takes no other effort or brain power other than just the really simple, ordinary task. It might be that you like gardening, or you just go for a walk.
Again, being intentional, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Because I suppose we all live in this age, don't we, where we're kind of led to believe that you've got to be on it all the time, you've got to be working. But I know, even from yesterday, I came in on a Monday, having had a really stressful weekend. I mean, I was in Provence. It was an amazing wedding, but it was incredibly stressful because of other factors. I wasn't as productive yesterday. I knew I wasn't, because my head just wasn't there. I hadn't had the time to just stop and breathe and rest.
And taking time out for yourself is super important, and to do the things that you love is super important. And again, being confident with that, to just say, no, I kind of need to go and just do whatever it is that you really enjoy doing. Just makes you feel like, even though work might be crazy, home life might be crazy, you just got that one little thing that's for you. Go and get your
sometimes
head on.
Just from a client point of view, it's just sometimes about managing expectation. And just letting them know from the outset, do you know what, now, especially from our industry, if you know that you edit your galleries in 4, 5, 6 weeks, tell your clients it's going to be 10 weeks. Just give yourself that breather.
1000%.
Because if you tell them it's going to be 4 weeks, straight away you're under pressure. You've put yourself under that pressure. Just take it away. Just make it 10 weeks.
So for us, we expect images from Jess
in
half an hour. So she tells us 1 hour.
Jess, have we had the images done yet?
They're joking, but
no, great question, though. Thank you. Right, I've got one other little question before we ask our final question that we're going to start asking every guest from now on.
Okay.
What is the best studio that you've ever worked in?
It's got to be Brickwork Studio.
No, we wanted to. We kind of touched on it a few episodes ago. We asked somebody about their school experience, and we were going to kind of try and keep it moving. We decided, we had a chat yesterday, didn't we, about this. There needs to be something that we ask everybody when we finish, like as a final question. So this is it. You're the first one to be asked this question. Okay. And it is, if you could go back to speak to your 14-year-old self at school, I suppose in this instance with your careers advisor as a telecommunications pole erector, what would your words of advice be to that 14-year-old Jess?
Yeah, good one. For me, and it is a little bit emotional, but you can 1000% do this. That would just be my message to myself, is you can do this. Because again, the voice has always been that no, there's a limitation on this. You can't actually do what you're setting out to do. But for me, it would definitely be just simple as you can. just know that you can. So
yes, you can.
Yes, you can, exactly.
Yes, you can.
That would be it, because I think that when you are at school, there's so much noise, and when you're kind of, you're looking at what you want to do in a career, you kind of think that there's a limit. You're somehow brought up to believe that you can only go in a certain direction, or this is the direction that you need to go in, and it's just not true. You can actually just do whatever it is that gives you life, that makes you feel good.
And I suppose it's that comparison against other students as well, isn't it? It made me think when you were saying then about like I felt like I wasn't going to be as good as other people at school. So it's like, well, straight away you're like, okay, not a failure as such, but you just feel like you're not going to be that good.
Yeah.
So what are your options?
Definitely, there were so many people in school which I really admire. I love the fact that if you know what you want to do from the get-go, then that's great. And I find that really inspiring. But there are a lot of people now, even with the GCSEs and stuff, that have just finished, that just think, God, what am I actually destined to do? You don't always know. But again, that's okay.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Amazing.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming down. Like, me and Igor had absolutely no doubts in your ability to be able to come and sit in front of us today and have a chat, and to, kind of inspire all of us and the audience sat here today. She's been pretty good, yeah? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Round of applause.
So,
yeah, we've loved it.
So Jess, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jess Somerville, or Brand by Jess as well, which is my branding Instagram.
And in Ibiza.
And in Ibiza with a cocktail in my hand.
And 2 Labradors.
Or in Zara.
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it.
You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
I had one final question. Do you prefer £8 bottles of prosecco, or do you prefer £40 bottles of champagne?
That was okay. Wow. Look at this.
What do you prefer, Jess?
Thank you, Sam. Oh, that. Well.
Should we have a little taste, a little lunchtime taste test?
Let's break that open. Yeah.
With our.
Now you're talking my
Domino's.
language.
Yeah. We're having Domino's pizza with everybody. So yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Oh yeah, Igor. What do people need to do? What do they need to do? We're still recording.
Like, share, subscribe.
Check us out on YouTube. If anyone wants to leave a review, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we always do.
Thank you for all of the support and the shares and the feedback. It's really appreciated, and we're absolutely buzzing about what's coming up over the next sort of 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah, thank you for getting to this point of the episode. You must be a trooper. So yeah,
thanks, guys.
Thank you, fam.
Oh, look at this. Amazing. I will share.